everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sara.
And I'm aall.
And this is Euros episode 3. We're at the conclusion of Matchday 2. We've just got one more group stage game to go. I'm back. I missed you. I missed football. I missed it all. I'm happy for my sister who got married, but I'm happy to be back watching soccer. I just want everybody to know that Allie was extremely sassy with me over text message before England's game.
Always sassy.
But it's like all of your fears were just coming out in complete sass.
To be fair, I did stop myself because I was going to make a terrible joke about Americans, and then I went, nope.
We're not even in this tournament. We don't deserve it yet. All right, let's get into it. We got so much to discuss, Allie. And first and foremost, let's kick it off here in the intro of positives and negatives so far of the tournament. I love when we do this. We're through 2 out of 3 group stage games. There's been a lot of both, really. More positives. But, all right, well, a little peek behind the curtain. We're recording this right after the conclusion of Matchday 2. So that means that France and Wales just ended, which means that, of course, the first positive has to be plug your ears if you don't want some profanity, because this 100% warrants a little profanity. Jess motherfucking Fishlock, baby, with the first goal ever for Wales in a major tournament. It had to be her, Allie. I cried. I had chills. I could watch that on loop. The reaction of the fans, of the players, of Jess Fishlock herself. Just incredible.
Yeah. It was a little nervy because obviously VAR came to play, but
yeah,
it stood and she got it.
It stood, and they almost took the 1-1 draw into halftime. We'll come on to that when we get to the rest of the episode, because we're going to go through every single group, starting with Group D and then backwards in order. But let's stay on the positives.
Yeah, the next positive, staying with Wales, which is Rhiannon Wilkinson's extra gay outfit on the sideline.
It really was.
We're like, yeah,
we love it.
You do you, friend. You do you.
I miss Casey Stoney, so we had to give that a shout out, right? All right, the number 3, it has to be the Alps in the backdrop of so many of these stadiums. It's utterly stunning. It is it's like distracting how gorgeous it is when there's not thunderstorms.
I was saying, I think I put it on our social media, which is like, it's so amazing to see these mountains in the back of the Swiss grounds, when in England, you're lucky if you see a little. Lia Volti's love for everything and everyone is phenomenal.
Other way around, everybody's love for Lia Volti.
I mean, she's still got a lot of love though her way though. Like,
okay, fair enough.
I mean, everybody loves her. She's loving everybody. If you look at the messages she's sending to players, the notes that she's written, welcoming them to her country, she's like, I am the Swiss ambassador right now for everyone.
Okay, yours is Lia Volti's love for everybody, and mine is everybody's love for Lia Volti, because especially like you go online and everybody's like, can you believe how incredible this person is? Wait, let me just read one specific tweet. I'm going to put it out on our social media, but somebody just had me dying laughing with this. All right, here we go. Who is Lia Volti? For the blind, she is the vision. For the hungry, she is the chef. For the thirsty, she is the water. If she thinks, I agree. If she speaks, I'm listening. If she has one fan, it's me. If Lia Volti has no fans, I don't exist.
Wow.
Impeccable.
Oh, wow.
All right. Moving it along. Another positive is an internet that is usually divided, but an internet has been united by Norway and everybody's lack of understanding at how so many world-class players on one team could create such a bad team.
It reminds me of, there used to be a glitch on a game called Civilization, where if you played as Gandhi, you could make him get so good that he looped back around to evil. And it feels like that. It feels like they've got so good because of the amount of talent in that one team, and they've just looped back round to bad. And then this one's just like a really big one in my heart, which is the fact that Wales are officially the gayest team in the Euros. And I'm not saying that derogatorily. They have 9 out players on their squad, which is the most out of any team that has qualified for the Euros. And that makes my queer little heart.
I love it. Wales gracing our positives list now 3 times. It's been, for a team that has had 0 wins, they're gracing the positives list quite a bit.
We love them.
We love them. The darlings, if you will. All right, moving along. We got 2 more positives. We'll rip through these quickly and the negatives even faster. The last positive for me, so many great kits. Allie and Chris did a Fits and Kits that's up on Patreon right now, talking about all of the kits of the Euros. What are the best? What are the worst? Allie, give us a sneak peek. What's your favorite?
So my favourite was Finland with the owl.
The blue Finland one.
And there should be, anybody who follows our socials, there should be no surprise at who was the oh no. Final positive is some of the absolute screamers that we have seen goals-wise in this tournament. I mean...
Golazos. Absolute bangers.
Yep. Giroli of Italy scored an absolute worldie in their match against Portugal. Just today, Lauren James and Georgia Stanway scored absolute beauties for England. Like, there's been some fabulous goals.
Bangers only, as Mike said. Bangers only. All right, let's go to the negatives, and we're going to rip through these quickly because these are less exciting, less fun. But we have to show both sides. We have to show the full picture, you know?
This is a particular bugbear of mine. We've seen the wave a lot. And I'm done with it. I saw someone tweet that anybody who does the wave should be banned from any major sporting event, and I agree. The players better score a goal because the fans are now doing the wave. Like, it's over. It's done. Be done with it.
Number 2, a lot of these fields are grass, which is great that these players are playing on grass, obviously. But it's grass that has been laid on top of turf. And apparently it's just been playing like a little bit differently. At least I don't think it's really caused anything yet. But we hope to keep it that way.
So our next negative is the amount of cards that are being given out in these tournaments. Remember, they don't wipe until after the quarter-finals, which puts a lot of players in a very precarious position.
Number 4, Germany and Clara Buell have not made a mascot. If you remember in 2022, it was none other than Allie. Waru. And we don't have one this year. So sad.
Makes me very sad. The negative is the Wales team were involved in a road collision the day before their game against France. Everybody was uninjured, but it was said that a lot of people were shaken up and they did cancel training that day.
And the second to last is the abuse that Lauren James, not for some reason, we know why, the racist people, continues to suffer at the hands of England's media, racist people in England. It's just so unnecessary and so upsetting. And the fact that she's come out and basically said, like, well, it's just my, like, new normal. It doesn't really affect me anymore is, like, one of the saddest things I've heard.
Absolutely. And one of the saddest things I've seen is the Netherlands font on their new jersey.
We love the orange jersey. We can't stand the font.
No, and it goes up there with Norway's terrible, terrible font. There's been some terrible, terrible fonts this
Norway's is more of an affront because as somebody who does commentary, if you try to put like silver numbers on top of a white jersey, what is the commentator supposed to do? Because sometimes the commentators are like sitting up high in the stadium and sometimes they're calling remotely off of a world feed and they can't see the numbers. And especially they can't see the numbers if it's silver on white. And it's a total affront. It caused confusion for the referees and they're literally on the field.
I was going to say the referees couldn't tell who was being subbed on and off. It was awful.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Okay, that's it for positives and negatives. We've got 2 more quick segments, new quick hit segments that we're going to call them before we move on into the rest of the episode. But before we do, Allie, why don't we tell everybody what's going on in this episode?
In this episode, we will be giving you the rundown of match day 2, people. This has already decided some people that are going through to the knockouts. Some people are going to have to wait until match day 3, but we're going to give you all the thrills, the spills, and everything within all of the groups. But we're going to do it backwards. We're going to start with the most recent, with Group D, and then work our way back to Group A.
I love it. I'm excited. We're going to do scenarios. We're going to dive into match day 2. Like you said, all the hot topics we're covering. But before we do, 2 quick segments. Let's do the short, quick hit topics first, Allie. And the first quick hit topic is the Batman mask debate. Do you want to tell everybody what this is?
So, Portugal's player Borges was playing with one of those Batman masks because she'd broke her nose. And
Anna Borges, by the way, who we'll talk about later because she got a straight red card.
Yeah. And I said that players in the Batman masks are a waste of a pick because they can't see, and I find that they don't play as well. And you could have someone else in that position. And then Hardhead over there was...
You didn't say the part about not being able to see. You were just like, people in Batman masks shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I had to play in a Batman mask once because I broke my nose. And then I said, to be fair, though, I took it off after 2 minutes because I couldn't see anything through it. And you were like, well, case in point.
Yeah, exactly. Case and point. So let us know what you think, because I know if this rule was true, Alana Kennedy would never get any minutes.
It's true. It's true. I don't think Alana Kennedy really cares for the mask, though. She's like, well, it's broken how many times before? We are where we are. All right. Second is the sock debate. And if you follow us on socials, you've seen that it was driving me absolutely crazy in the Germany-Denmark game. Carlota Vamser had one low sock and then what appeared to be one high sock. And I simply couldn't concentrate on the game until we discovered, was it a low sock and a high sock? Or is she a low sock baller with a calf sleeve? And for those of you who are also wondering, although for probably an audio platform, this isn't as exciting because you're not looking at the photo. It was a low sock and then a calf sleeve, confirmed. We did some investigatory work and we figured it out.
So many angles, so many pictures.
Yeah, we were sending so many photos back and forth. All right, Allie, quick hit number 3. I want to ask you this question. Who is your favorite right now in the tournament based on gameplay? People are saying Spain, but they haven't had the same level of competition in their groups as some other teams have.
I'm going to get yelled at for being unpatriotic, but I'm saying France.
Yeah.
France are scary good right now, guys. Scary good. So in terms of gameplay, like literally, and we'll get onto it when we talk about it, they basically had a very different team than the team that beat England playing against Wales, and they were just as scary and just as good.
I wouldn't say they were as scary and as good, but I would still say that they are, I think, the best team right now in the tournament. I'd agree. All right, finally, and this is a great way to transition into when we talk about groups, because as we go into match day 3, obviously, we're going to have some scenarios where we need to figure out who's advancing first, who's advancing second. And if teams are tied on points, we need to know what the tiebreakers are. Allie.
So it starts off with the age-old question, but it will start off with a head-to-head. So it will be whichever team beat the other team better. I hate this so much, to the point that I still have not learned how it works, and this is like, what, the 4th tournament in? And
then it will be goal differential. This is different than in the World Cup, though, because in the World Cup, it was goal differential and then it was head to head. And this is where this debate first arose for us, because you think it should be goal differential as the tiebreak. I think it should be head to head, because quite literally, what is the best way to decide who's better? See who wins. And thank you, Euros, for listening to me. But with that being said, as you said, Allie, if the head-to-head is a draw, it'll go to goal differential. And we'll come on to when that, and if that comes into play later on in the groups.
So, and then our final topic of this intro is we're going to give a short Hunger Games tribute, as we always do, for each team that is officially statistically eliminated and will be saying goodbye at the group stages.
There have been 4 teams already statistically eliminated, and they are Iceland in Group A,
Belgium in Group B,
Denmark in Group C.
And Poland in Group C.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
So, to Group D, and the match day 2 results are in. It was England versus the Netherlands and France versus Wales. A very shaky England fans, I have to say, on today about what was going to happen because we didn't know. But spoiler alert, England took it 4-0 over the Netherlands, and France took it 4-1 over Wales.
Definitely some shaky England fans to start the day. We all knew coming into the game against the Netherlands that it was do or die. A draw was okay. A win was obviously great, but a loss for England and they would have been completely eliminated from the tournament. They would have been the first Euros defending champions to be eliminated in the group stage. That didn't happen. It was honestly like a smattering, kind of like a whooping of the Netherlands that I'm excited to talk about, because coming into this tournament, we said the Netherlands were going to be the weaker of the three if we're talking France, England, Netherlands. And I think that this game kind of proved it, but that does not take away how nerve-wracking this was for England fans, because that scenario is terrifying. I'm not going to lie. But you just got the worst of it, because the Netherlands would have been in that situation too if they'd played France first and England had played Wales first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because as we mentioned, this French team is scary right now.
It was Tooney starting instead of Beth Mead. And then the tactical change. Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going off of the internet because I was at a wedding on Saturday when England were playing their first game. But from what I could tell, it was Greenwood in the center back and Jess Carter in the left back for game 1. And
Correct.
Serena Wegman had that switched for today. So it was Jess Carter in the center back and Alex Greenwood in the left back. And I mean, that just fits better. That's both of their more natural positions.
It really does. And I was saying, because I know Greenwood plays centre back at City. I know she does. However, Greenwood is naturally left-footed. Shocking, putting a naturally left-footed player in the left position ended up being a good thing.
I think it was less about that and more about it's so obvious that Jess Carter is better in the center than she is on the wing. It's just so blatantly obvious. I think it plays to her strengths as well as Alex Greenwood's strengths to flip them. Listen, England needed to start out strong. They needed to come out with intensity, and did they ever? Russo did miss a sitter at the start, but she certainly made up for it. I will say I do think that the biggest rivalry so far of this tournament is Alessia Russo versus the offside flag. She got called offside again in like a questionable call again in this game.
That's the thing. It's not her fault. That's the thing. As somebody said, she's been found offside twice by someone else's doing. Because the first time it was Beth Mead and the second time it was Leah Williamson.
I know we're not talking about Matchday 1, but we didn't get to talk about that offside. Let me just pose this question to you, because we have not even gotten to text about this, and I'm so excited to hear your thoughts. Because I saw that photo of Alessia Russo, the offside image, and I was like, oh my God, this is the England fan version of my goal line technology photo from 2023. And perhaps it'll be a different outcome. Perhaps it won't be what sends them out of the tournament, but it certainly feels like it, where England fans are going to die on that hill that Alessia Russo was onside. US fans are going to die on that hill that goal did not go in, and we will examine the image forever.
It was, me and Mike said it. He said that when we watched it, it looked more offside until we saw the image. And then we saw the image and we were like, no, that's just mean.
Yeah. Yeah, the image is hilarious because you look at it and you're like, wait a second, what part of her is offside? Okay, but you don't like the comparison between the two photos. So far, I found that no English person likes the comparison between the two photos.
No, I quote our editor Mike, which is, yet we still had time to do something about it and we didn't.
True. But you did something about it. And you beat the Netherlands 4-0. And let's briefly talk about that game, because it was a completely different England, Allie. And you were about to say, like, you're not going to put it all on Mead, but what do you, because it rightfully so, because it's, obviously not, but because it was an entire shift in demeanor across the whole field. What changed for England? Or really what didn't, maybe is the question, because demeanor was a big one.
No, I think Davina definitely was huge. I do think, again, I'm not saying it's Beth Mead's fault, but I do think bringing Tooney in over Mead was the right decision because Tooney plays centre. Mead is a winger. She plays a very similar position to what Lauren Hemp and Lauren James plays. And I think that's where we were losing out against France. We were losing out in the middle of the field. Whereas if you've got Tooney in the middle of the field, she plays that better and it works out
Having
better.
Ella Toon in the center allowed Lauren James to go out wide. And Lauren Hemp was working Kasparov all day long. And Lauren James, on the other hand, had her way with Brutes, who got subbed off at halftime because Lauren James was working her so hard down that side. And it was the wings that England were able to exploit.
I also think it does help that I felt we were defensively stronger by making that sub of having Greenwood on the left and Carter in the middle, which meant that Lauren James didn't have to track back as much. Like if you watch that France game, she's having to run up and down and track back so much and play the defensive role. She didn't need to do that today because we had it covered. So she could be more creative. She could go and play that free-flowing football. I sent it to you and like I saw memes everywhere, which is, most fans were like, Lauren James in a Chelsea shirt. Ugh. Lauren James in an England shirt. Yes, because she's just that good. It's just silly.
She's the best player on the team, period, the end.
Yeah, and she scored that absolute world-class volley for the first
Arguably,
goal.
I think the most important goal because it broke the seal and it broke the draw and it put England up 1-0.
Yeah, and you could see them being tentative, being like, offside? No, it stands. Okay, we're good. We're good to go.
I mean, LJ had 2 goals in that game. I felt calm watching her. She's so cool, calm, composed, collected, which is what England needed, honestly, because it was a big game and nerves can really get the better of you. And she was outstanding. And I also want to shout out Georgia Stanway, who had an impeccable game as well. An impeccable goal, an impeccable game. She was the Georgia Stanway of old. We all know she's coming off of a really long, extended injury. And she was great. And of all of the things that England dominated today, they also dominated in the midfield. Netherlands could not figure out how to play through the midfield. And what all of that allowed was Lucy Bronze and Alex Greenwood to also get forward. And it was just utter dominance. The Netherlands looked slow. They certainly looked older. I don't think Vivian Miedema touched the ball after minute 12 in the first half and then hardly at all in the second half. And that's their biggest threat. And they just didn't have an answer. So it's looking kind of rough for the Netherlands versus France.
Yeah, they got very, very frustrated. Very frustrated. And also, like, every time they got the ball, England took it back off them. England would lose possession for maybe one pass, and then they've got it back again. Like, I don't think the Netherlands strung that many passes together. They had a couple of opportunities, but nothing that really troubled Hannah Hampton.
In 2 games, the Netherlands have scored 3 goals, all versus Wales, and they've allowed 4. They don't have a great goal differential. Let's talk about scenarios here as we head into match day 3, Allie.
Yeah, so because England have won, nobody is mathematically out. Even Wales, nobody is mathematically out because things. Yeah. So
and nobody is mathematically through either.
No, because of this whole malarkey. So France currently top the group with 6 points because they've won both their games. England are now second because they've got a better goal differential than the Netherlands with 3 points. Then it's the Netherlands, and then it's Wales with nothing.
So England and the Netherlands both sit with 3 points. The Netherlands and France play in match day 3. England and Wales play in match day 3. Now, France winning or drawing, and they're through. That's the situation for France. England, the situation is a win, you're through. A draw, you are through as long as the Netherlands either draw or lose. If England and Wales draw and France and the Netherlands draw, it'll be France and England to go through because of head-to-head and goal differential. England win both of those. Now, for the Netherlands to go through, a whole lot has to happen. Number 1, they have to beat France. Number 2, England have to lose or draw. And that's it. And then for Wales, do we even want, let's say it, why not? For Wales to go through, Wales have to win by Let's do math. A lot. But they have to win by a lot. A lot. I kind of missed that on goal differential too for Netherlands, but England have the head-to-head, which it goes to first. And so I think that they're cooked. I don't have to do any math. Anyways, Wales have to win by a lot if they want to go through. All right. Allie, it's really shaping up to look like your prediction might be dead on because you had France 1, England 2. I had England going first, France going second. But hey, we'll see. We will see. On to Group C, because we are going in backwards order now. Matchday 2 results were Germany 2-1 over Denmark, Sweden 3-0 over Poland. This is the only group where we already know who's going through, because Denmark and Poland have both been officially eliminated. Denmark has lost both games, and Poland have lost both games. So we've got Sweden and Germany with 6 points, Denmark and Poland with 0 points. And it all comes down to Matchday 3. Where Sweden and Germany will play each other to see who moves on as number 1 and number 2. I do feel bad for Denmark because they've played well. They really have. You know, they could have pulled out a draw against Germany.
They could have beat Germany. Like, that's the thing. They were 1-0 up for a really long time. And then stuff happened. And I do think, like, the German second goal is very controversial.
I don't think it's controversial. I think it's a bummer for Denmark, but I don't think it's controversial. But let's talk about it, because Emma Snurley, who plays for Denmark, got literally knocked unconscious, or so it seemed that she was unconscious. At the very least, she was down on the ground, not moving.
She fell like a sack of potatoes, as my coach said.
By an attempted clearance by her own teammate. But this was like right on top of the 18. So she goes down, and it essentially leads to Germany scoring pretty immediately right after that. Really unfortunate for Denmark. I do think that the ref handled it well, because Germany did have the ball. They did look like they were going to goal. Like, if I'm the referee, I'm like, I can't blow my whistle when Germany are like about to score right now. That was a game with a lot of close calls, and I think she made the right one every time.
Yeah, if you're Denmark, you don't agree with that. I was a bit umming and ahhing, because I was a bit like, yes, you can't blow your whistle if Germany are about to score, but then again, they've managed to get the ball because this player's gone down and there's a head injury. Do you not blow because there's a player, as you said, looks like they've been knocked unconscious?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I don't know. It's really, I think it's 50-50. It's one of those intricacies that, like, you know, you can read the rule book all you want, but there's no specific fine print in the rule book that says, okay, well, if there's a clearance and it bounces off a player and then Germany's about to score, but when it bounced off the player, she actually got knocked unconscious. So there's that provision in it. Like, you can't, it's not in the rule book. You just have to use your best judgment. And I do think it was the right call. I think it's super unfortunate, though, because that is what ended up, I mean, the final score was 2-1, and that's what broke the tie. So, yeah. I mean, we also need to talk about Germany, because they were literally my favorites going into this tournament.
I was going to say, I want to talk to you. How do you still feel like that, having watched them play?
I mean, they're not my favorites right now, but I still think that their ceiling is high. They can get there. They're still moving the ball around well. It just kind of breaks down when they get to the final third. And I think that that's something that they can fix throughout the tournament. It's not like unfixable, but things need to be adjusted. That's for sure. They're not as cohesive as I thought that they were going to be, and frankly, as they were in the lead up to this tournament. I think that the loss now of Julia Gwynn, who went down with a knee injury in this game against Denmark, and now she'll be out for the rest of the tournament. She's also wearing the captain's armband for Germany. That's a huge loss. So in a moment where they actually need to, like, improve, that's a big blow for them.
Yeah, in that game against Denmark, there was a lot of frustrated shots. There wasn't really much on target. It was just a lot of help and a miss.
It's funny, though, because you watch them move the ball around, and they move it so well, it just breaks down in the final third, and that's it. But, I mean, look, if they go through second, they're going to be in a tough spot, because whoever goes through second in this group gets the first place of Group D, which is shaping up to be France. So in that sense, I think Germany are going to be okay if they can beat Sweden in match day 3. Otherwise, I think it's going to be, I don't know. I would just say that they have the capability. It's just a matter of putting it together. And I think this Sweden game is going to be the biggest test. The final thing I want to say about this group before we move on to Group B, and Katrinberger. Why must you give us heart attacks with your feet? You, like, did you see this, Allie? Multiple times in the game, AKB was like playing around with the ball at her feet, kind of like juking defenders, forwards who were playing defense on her with her feet, almost losing it. And it scared the living daylights out of me. And anybody who has watched AKB in club, any current Gotham fans, know what this feels like. And Katrinberger, I know you got mad skills with those touches, but like, please play it a little earlier. I was dying. It killed me. All right, Allie, I mean, just for the fun of it, Germany, Sweden. What do you think?
Oh, it's one thing to having watched both teams play. I feel
I'm unimpressed by Sweden also,
I'm unimpressed by Sweden. Sweden are doing exactly what I thought Sweden were going to do, which is play really boring football and then they get a goal on the counter, which is what...
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I can't be a hater. I didn't say it. I'm not the hater.
Your cheery American optimism. No, I can't with Sweden at the moment because my fear is, and this is what I feel is going to happen, is they're going to play Germany and Germany are going to do all of the work and not score, and Sweden will get a goal on the counter, whether it be Angeldal or Blackstenius, who have been the most prolific at the moment. It's got a 1-0 written all over it.
Yeah, I'm a little worried because Germany's a team that's been known for their defensive organization, and in the past 3 years they've shown not they haven't been like that. They got scored on by Denmark. They've been scored on. They didn't even make it out of the group stage in the World Cup. They're absolutely susceptible to that from Sweden. So it'll be interesting, but it'll be a fun one, that's for sure.
To Group B, and this is the group that has got the big gun. And as Mike put it, you've got the bear, and it's the team that it's the fastest team that runs away from the bear will go through. So Spain being the bear, and the other teams are the ones that need to run fast enough to to get away. I thought that was great, so I was bringing that back.
That's so great.
I was bringing that back. So Belgium have officially fallen to the bear. We know this. They've gone, and they lost to Spain 6-2. And it was so close for so long, and then Spain did Spain things.
It was 2-2 at one point.
It really was. It was so close. And it was so, like, back and forth, because it was like Spain scored, then Belgium scored, then Spain scored, then Belgium scored. And we were like, Belgium are taking it. And then Spain went, nah, today. And then Portugal, Italy was the first draw of the tournament.
Euros after dark, baby.
Oh, this game was, me and you were on our text chat being like, what is happening? What is going on? So they drew 1-1, but what a game, because that didn't happen till like the 80-odd minute.
Crazy. It was a wild game. Just when you thought it had everything, it didn't. Like, more things kept happening. It was pretty wild, including, you said it was the 80-odd minute. It was Diana Gomez in the 89th minute who equalized for Portugal. Well, first of all, it was 0-0 until the 70th, and then an absolute banger from Cristiana Guarelli of Italy in the 70th minute to put Italy up 1-0. And then Diana Gomez comes back for Portugal, scores in the 89th minute, 1-1, although for the entirety of the injury time, it certainly felt like somebody was going to break that deadlock. It was like, this game isn't going to end 1-1. Something's about to happen, because it was open. Like, open. Like, these were two teams that were like, defense? No, let's play offense. It was wild. And then what we really have to discuss about this game, Allie, is Ana Borges, who was already on a yellow, gets a straight red card in the 96th minute for Portugal.
Yeah, I thought that was harsh, man.
I thought it was harsh too. I think it was deserving of a yellow, maybe. But a second red is kind of wild. I mean, unless Portugal advances, it's not going to make a difference. But Yeah, a straight red for that is kind of wild. It was a shove.
But the thing is, she was going to go off anyway. So maybe the ref just didn't bother showing the second yellow. Just was like, off you go.
Yeah, but it'll be unfortunate. Portugal still have a chance. Italy and Portugal still have a chance to both advance second. Technically, Italy has a chance to advance first. But yeah, like we said, this will only come into play if Portugal does advance. Because, Allie, can you remind everybody what the difference between like a double yellow and a straight red is?
So a double yellow is a 1-game ban. A straight red is a 3-game ban.
So this is pretty much the end of her tournament unless Portugal make it pretty far. Okay, before we get into matchday 3 scenarios, I really do want to, we can talk about Italy also. I don't have much to say from this game. Do you have anything about Italy?
Just that they've been super surprising.
In what way? I feel like Italy has been exactly what I thought Italy was going to be.
No, so Italy for me was surprising because they've certainly taken it to teams such as Belgium, which they previously the 3 times they've played them previously, they've lost each and every time. I think this is the big thing showing that this is the first time we've really seen the major Italian clubs investing in their women's team. And is this now the payoff? Like, we're actually now seeing Roma, Juve, the Milans, Fiorentina, all investing heavily in their women's team now. And is this now becoming the payoff for the Italian national team? Because as we mentioned in our previews, most of the players play their football in Italy. There's a couple that don't, but most of them play for Italian clubs.
That's a good point, Allie. And I feel like the funny thing is, if you look at everybody in this group, right now, how they're sitting, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Belgium, that's exactly like if you look at the actual investment in the domestic league, like Spain has the most, Italy has the second, Portugal has the third most, and Belgium has the least. And that's exactly how it's falling. All right, let's talk about. I need to talk about Spain for a second because here's my question about Spain, because everybody's like, Spain, Spain are definitely the best team in this tournament, no questions asked, at least right now. And I'm not saying no, but I'm saying I think we need to ask some questions. I said before this tournament started that Spain's defense is their Achilles heel. Similar to Germany, who has always been known as a team that has a really organized lockdown defense, Spain used to have this reputation of nobody can score on them, but they also can't score. So if Spain win, it's going to be a 1-0 game, or they're just going to draw because the other team can't score, but Spain just play pretty football and don't put the ball in the back of the net. Now, they're kind of the opposite. They let in quite a few goals for supposedly like the best team in this tournament against teams that they should be certainly keeping clean sheets against. They also can score a ton of goals. So does it really matter? Well, I guess we'll find out when they start to play a little tougher competition. But you look at these score lines, and yes, they kept a clean sheet against Portugal, but we just talked about the Belgium game, 6-2. It was 2-2 at one point, and they were drawn with Belgium. It didn't last very long. But there was a moment where it was like Spain's defense looks like it's getting completely picked apart. And I guess the question is their defense a concern as they head into the knockout rounds?
I think it is a big concern because if you look at like elsewhere, like not just in this tournament, Spain haven't kept a clean sheet this year. They haven't. They haven't.
Well, except for the Portugal game, game one of the Euros. That was their first.
But that was their first one since the 23rd of February 24. That's like it's been a long time since they've kept a clean sheet. So I don't think you can really blame on the fact that they haven't got Catacol. But I do think there is a factor in that because obviously your goalkeeper is the one that shouts at your defense to help get you lined up. I put him in the notes. Ali has opinions. Sarah probably would no doubt disagree. My thing is that because Cole is out with tonsillitis and it's really knocked her for 6, it looks like. Their current keeper has got 4 caps. 2 of them have been gained from this tournament. Going in. England are in a similar predicament in the fact that their backup keepers have no caps. Neither of them. Neither Keating or Morehouse.
A lot of uncapped backups here. By the way, it's Adriana Nanclares who is playing in goal for Spain as Spain's number 2.
I know the schedule's congested before people start, But we seem to be having less and less friendlies as the football season goes on, because when we're playing international, it's for something. It is for qualification. It is for world rankings. It is not just a we want to play. England played one friendly in the run up to this, and that was against Jamaica, and we still played our number one goalkeeper. We don't seem to want to risk putting in uncapped keepers.
I mean, Emma, I'm sorry to bring it back to the US.
Of course you do. Of course you're going to. It's the Euros. Let's talk about the US. Do I need to call you up?
What I mainly want to do is bring it back to Emma Hayes, one of the great coaches. And this is what she's been trying to fix in the US system, where she was like, we have like 11 players with a ton of caps. And then we have like 30 players with under 5 caps. And that doesn't work for me. So let's get everybody with, a good, solid ground of experience under their feet so that we feel like we have options. And you're right. I mean, I think that maybe it wasn't just a trend in the U.S. women's national team. Maybe this is a trend across the world, because when you're playing for something, like you just said.
Well, that's it, because like you guys play a lot more friendlies than we do.
Yeah, because we don't have the Euros.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you guys have the freedom to play these friendlies in order to get, and we've said it before multiple times, that Emma Hayes doesn't know what she wants in a goalkeeper, so she keeps picking different ones and keeps playing different ones. But that's good, because the thing, but we're not seeing that in Europe, because we're constantly, if we're not playing in a tournament, we're playing in a tournament to qualify for a tournament, which is Nations League, and you don't want to take that risk. You don't want to take that risk by playing but then again, it's that whole catch-22 of like, if they don't get experience, then you can't play them as a proper backup, but you don't want to play them because they've not got the experience. And it's just, so the long-winded answer of that is, I feel that Spain are being affected by the fact that their leader at the back has no real experience as being a leader at the back.
I think that they're affected a little bit, but I still think that their defense is a concern, even if Katakol was in goal. I really hope that we get to see her soon. I haven't read anything about the prospect of her return other than that she's just still dealing with tonsillitis, which is such a bummer. We've gotten to see Bonmati unlimited minutes. Nobody thought that Bonmati would come back from meningitis faster than Katakol would come back from tonsillitis, but that seems to be what has happened. But I'm sure we'll see her at some point in the knockouts, because Spain are 100% through. A matter of first or second, we're not sure. But let's wrap this up by taking a look at Matchday 3.
So the only real true way Portugal can go through is if Italy lose to Spain by a good chunk of goals, and if that doesn't happen, then Portugal have got to beat Belgium by at least 6. At least.
And actually 7, because 6 would put them even on goal differential.
Yes. We're just assuming that Spain will have knocked some of that down.
Right.
But so basically they've got to beat Belgium thoroughly.
Yeah. So if you're a Portugal fan, you're hoping for a whooping from Spain on Italy and a whooping for Portugal on Belgium. Hey, it could happen. I think that second spot is wide open.
Finally, back to the pick of the bunch. Group A.
I feel like Group A is just like the crazy kid of the group that it's just like, I don't know, just like let them do their own thing. Let them be.
Let them be, and then we'll call them when dinner's ready. We've got one confirmed, which is Norway, because they won 2-1 over Finland. Switzerland beat Iceland, which means Iceland are officially out. So it's now going to be a toss-up between Switzerland and Finland. Who advances?
This is too funny to me. First and foremost, Allie, applause to us, because finally picking Norway to go first has paid off. Look at us go. They are through. They're not necessarily through first, so maybe I am speaking too soon. Probably I am. The main thing I want to say about Norway, because we've already discussed Norway in a game, so I don't need to talk about how they played in Matchday 2 or how they played in Matchday 1 or whatever. What I want to talk about is there is a hilarious video of the team bus after match day 2 where Norway they won and they officially secured a spot in the quarterfinals. Whether they go through first or second, still to be determined, but they are in the quarterfinals. And somebody's doing some like backflip on the top of like by the roof of the bus. It's absolutely hilarious. They're singing, and I saw this tweet that was like, was like, the entirety of the internet is absolutely like so mad at Norway, sitting there like, oh, how can you be so happy and celebrating when you play so bad? And then the Norway team bus is just like, yeah, we're through. And I feel like the same debate came up again. Sorry to bring it back to the United States, but the debate came up in the World Cup 2 years ago because the US drew with Portugal, but we still made it through. And the team was celebrating that they made it through to the round of 16. And an entirety of US media was like, how could they celebrate? They should be ashamed of themselves. And I feel like this is what's happening with Norway right now, where a lot of the media is like, how could they celebrate? They should be ashamed of themselves. And then on the other hand, this team's like, oh, well, we just made it through the quarterfinals. Like, of course we're going to celebrate.
The thing is, right, I'm like, yeah, they do deserve to celebrate because they have made it through to the knockout stages. But looking at it, they've won 2 games 2-1. They've only scored 2 goals because the other 2 were own goals. Babes, you've not done a spine. You've not battered your opposition. You've got through because of 2 very unfortunate incidents. You've missed a penalty. You've not played well. So yes, I mean, celebrate by all means. But let's be real here. Like, you've got through by the skin of your teeth.
You said nothing wrong. Everything there, totally factual. I agree. I mean, like, it's wild when you put it that way, that they've scored 4 goals total. 2-1 and 2-1 were the wins. But half of those goals were actually scored by the other team. So technically, Norway themselves have only scored 2 goals because the other 2 were scored as own goals. I don't know. I'm just kind of on the side of like, let them celebrate. I think it's great. Like, celebrate. You moved on. I think that right now the bar's so low that this team is like, we're not the biggest disappointment to our home fan base. Like, hooray. And I'm like, you go on, you celebrate that. I think it's going to be a rude awakening, maybe when we hit the next rounds, for sure. But I don't know. We'll see. Because I've also been, maybe to move us along, pleasantly surprised by Switzerland and Finland.
Hell yeah. Absolutely hell yeah. I said it, and I will eat the humble pie. I said that I didn't think Switzerland would have even qualified if they weren't even hosting this tournament. And they've come out and they've had that home fan boom. They came really close against Norway. They have very emphatic win against Iceland. They really have come out and been like, this is our tournament, let's take it by the scruff of the neck. And Finland, who had up until recently been in the B level of Nations League, have again come out and had some great games. Again, super unlucky against Norway. Had a cracking win against Iceland, and are in proper contention for maybe going through to the knockouts. So yeah, I 100% agree. Been hugely disappointed by Iceland again.
We got to talk about them. When I think of Finland and Switzerland, you know the TikTok sound? It's like, you know what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's what plays in my head. All right, let's do 30 seconds on Iceland because, well, again, we're both eating humble pie. I think we both had Norway and Iceland coming out of this group. We were both like, no questions asked. What is going on with Iceland?
They're just not a team. They are just literally, when they're on the pitch, they are 11 players. There is like no team. There is no gelling. There's nothing. And I don't know why, but there is literally nothing. And I don't know if it's because they play in such different leagues. They very rarely play against each other or with each other, so they don't really have that. I don't know, but there is just no team on that pitch. It is 11 individuals.
Glodis Perla Vigesdotter being injured coming into this tournament has played a big role. Like, we obviously can't hang it on one player, but when it's that player and she's that important to your team, not just on the field, but also like emotionally as a leader, everything. And she's also your center back that keeps literally everything organized, and she's the vocal leader too. Like, it makes a huge difference. I'm not saying that, hey, Iceland would be advancing if she was fully healthy, but I do think that they would have been able to put up a little bit more of a fight. That's for sure. But I agree. They're just a lot of individuals. They fit well in the group with Norway. All right. Should we talk scenarios quickly? For match day 3, it's Norway versus Iceland and Finland versus Switzerland. Like we said, Norway are 100% advancing. It's just a matter of first or second. Norway will advance first with a draw or a win over Iceland.
So the interesting part is the fact that Switzerland and Finland play each other.
Yeah, baby. And they're even on points.
So currently Switzerland are ahead of Finland because they have a +1 in the goal differential. So if Switzerland draw with Finland, then they will go through because it's a draw in the head-to-head and they have the better of the goal differential.
So basically, win and move on for both teams. But if it's a draw, it'll be Switzerland who goes through.
Correct. And they will go through second.
There it is. Thank you for breaking that down, Allie. I think it would have been just an absolute disaster if I tried to. All right. I think we did it. Final reminder for everybody that match day 3s all happen at the same time. So group A is going to play 2 games. They're both going to kick off at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. And that'll be the same time for group B the following day, group C the following day, and group D the following day, which I love.
As ever, make sure you check out our Patreon. There is a brand new Fits and Kits up there. Me and Chris had a great time discussing all of the Euros kits and what we liked and what we didn't. There's chats about the Scottish League because of the craziness that's happening with the Hamilton Academicals, as well as Rangers. And also, I'm going on a field trip up to Scotland to watch Rangers play. So we're going to keep you covered on that one when that happens.
Love it.
Going on an away day. I've agreed somehow to go all the way up to Aberdeen, which if you're English, you will understand how that's insane.
All right. So obviously this is dropping on Thursday. We will see you on Monday. But for bonus content, head to our Patreon. We're pumped for Monday's episode. Because Monday's episode is going to be us recording right after all of the group stages have concluded, and we're going to have our quarterfinals picture. So for us here at the Women's Soccer Show, I've been Sara.
And I've been Allie.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
This podcast was edited by Monkey Hill Media. Visit monkeyhillmedia.com for more information.